Hello, everyone. I love this feeling when I have the guest who I feel is like a friend already. And I can totally relax. I don't have to, put up any faces or stuff. We can just have a chat. Ashala Yardley is with us, everyone. And I'm so happy she found time for me. Thank you, Ashala.
Oh, well, my honor and pleasure, Anya, as always.
Thank you. So let me start before we have our wonderful chat with this. To everyone watching, please join my mailing list. The link is down below, just in case if anything happens, shenanigans go on. So mailing list is down below, and all the links to Ashala website, to her YouTube channel will be also down below when you scroll down under the video. So I want to start with this, that Ashala was so generous and she offered me her reading. I mean, my reading, but she offered to give me a reading. And I was so excited that I couldn't stop talking during that reading, but the reading was amazing. And I highly, highly recommend to those of you who would like to know more and have some questions that are coming out, or they have uncertainty, or they need guidance. It was incredible. I truly recommend the reading with Ashala. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it if it wouldn't be how I felt. It was great. So thank you, Ashala, so much. It was amazing
You're,
reading, really.
you're very welcome, Anya. I'm so delighted to bless the people in our community that are doing incredible work and to support them in whatever way I can. So it was absolutely an honor for me.
Thank you so much. So I want to start with a question that is kind of circulating around me lately, Ashala.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went on the trip some time ago. I forgot, a week or two ago, to
Yes,
Cumberland
yes, I
Island.
watched the video.
Oh,
Yes.
you did. Oh, wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Namaste. Like, amazing. Okay. So I don't have to go around. So I went on this trip, Cumberland Island, where JFK Jr. got married, right, with
Yes.
Caroline Bizet. Now, what I want to ask you is this. I had this very strong feeling that he has visited that place after the accident happened,
Mm.
twice.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it wasn't the last time that he visited this place during the wedding. I know this is a very specific question, but actually I would like to know if you can look into it, if this is the case, that he was there after.
Okay. Okay. So very interesting what's coming up. And I don't know really anything about this island, its location, its history, or anything like that. Um, I do get a feeling that, uh, as you said, obviously he was there for the wedding and that he did return. Now, I get a sense that it has something to do with some reparation work with the original peoples who inhabited those lands. It's such a huge thing that's going on right now. And I feel like there's healing that happens between the work that we're doing with these incredible beings who have had such an impact on our culture, Western civilization, our politics, our kind of cultural mythology, and also the ancient peoples who have their own histories in these places. And somehow I feel that he's attending to that. And so I also got a feeling that he met you there.
When I was there, yeah, he met me there. And I heard him saying one sentence, I'll be
Yeah.
back. I will be
Yes.
back. But I felt his presence, especially on the way back. I felt this absolute certainty within my spirit. And I don't know why it was telling me twice, not once, but twice he returned to the land.
Yes. So the first time I got was about 6 months after the accident. I'm not sure what that timeline exactly refers to. And then the second time was to meet you there, is what I get.
But do you mean in a spirit form, or you mean, okay, the first time was
Yes.
in flesh?
Yes. Yes. The first time was in flesh, and I also get in spirit form.
Wow, amazing. Okay.
So are you asking if he went back there in physical form?
Yeah, because that's how I felt, like literally physically, Ashala.
Uh, so I get that she may have gone back there.
Okay.
Or like the other piece that I'm really feeling is the waters around.
Mhm.
When you said you got a sense when you were leaving and you were crossing the waters, it's like I'm sensing that there's something about the ocean area surrounding, and that they actually liked to go there.
Yes.
So when we're talking about the actual island, I think we're getting a bit of mixed messages, but or the actual location where the wedding happened. But in terms of that area, I feel it was very significant.
Yes.
And yeah.
So now I felt that, how to explain this. Okay. When I was there, I felt like I am entering a new earth. The frequency, everything felt,
Mhm.
I know it's earth, but it was
Mhm.
so different, like an awareness of people living under still oppression somewhere, or totally different realities out there. And there I
Yep.
was in that high frequency place, and
Mhm.
it was almost like experiencing this new five-dimensional earth.
Yes.
And the portals, I felt that. So you know what I want to ask, Ashala, because I had this reflection because of those very wealthy families who lived there, who own the
Mhm.
properties,
Yep.
generation after generation. And I was wondering, because there has been some hunting going on. I cannot say specifically what they were hunting for, but those were very nefarious things. In my spirit, I felt it. Can
Yep.
you just check on this island if they have been doing that and if that has stopped?
Well, it's definitely stopped. I also get a feeling of somehow a stopover, like that it was a stopover, like well, I mean, I hear the word way station. So somehow a place where maybe it was part of a chain of transport of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do get the feeling that I almost am sensing like a long time ago, like back in the 1950s or something, there may have been something like what you're speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get a sense that it happened long term. There was some reason why it needed to go somewhere else or underground.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
somehow,
I'm sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you, but something very interesting came back to my mind. You know what? You said in 50s. How incredible. When I was on a tour, we visited a place that was one of those very wealthy properties.
Yeah.
And that property was set on fire around early or mid 50s, I think.
Interesting.
Wow.
Hmm.
When you said
Yeah, because
50s,
that's what I got. I got that it's something it had to leave there, like
yeah,
it couldn't happen because of that would make a lot of sense of what I'm seeing.
wow. Okay.
So, and I also, Anya, get the feeling that there's both forces on that island and that there's protective spirits there. So again, this is something it's very important for us who are awake to be aware of and really allowing our attention to go to acknowledging how much protection and counter action to a lot of this is going on that isn't necessarily us in human form.
Mhm. The mother
Like,
Gaia, Ashala, you would love it there. Because you love gardening. Oh my goodness. You will be there, be like, oh, it's the spaciousness, the frequency, the nature. I mean, it's very humid and hot, but somehow you kind of, you put it aside and you just appreciate that energy and that land. Very
mhm.
sacred place, very sacred.
and and those kinds of, you know, the gardens, the restoration, the healing, there's nothing like nature to
Mhm.
bring balance back into a place that has been devastated
Yes.
in many ways. And it does feel as though this is an ongoing process there. Definitely a very powerful region,
Yes.
like not only the island, but the area around. And I just want to mention that I've been seeing in my readings so much important focus on islands as these sanctuaries of seclusion for awake communities.
Wow. This is
So
yeah.
this, it potentially is one of those places.
Wow.
Hmm.
So now this takes me to my next question, which is I have this very strong sense that the next 3 months will be, how you say this in English, pivotal, very important.
Pivotal, yes, yes.
Yes. Um,
Hmm.
and
3 months.
oh wow.
Yeah, 3 months. It was the last card on this spread.
See,
Yes.
it's I love it. It's like so connected. So I would like you to tell us and the audience those next 3 months, what do you feel and what you see in cards as well? What we can expect, what representations of changes, transformations, energies, Ashala?
Hmm. So the first thing I'm getting before I even lay the cards down, because I pulled the wish card. And when this card comes in a reading, I ask people to make a wish. So it seems the first pivotal piece is that we make a wish of what we would like to see. Not only like just get through this and, begin to experience some relief from all the chaos, but also to allow our vision and our intuition and our imagination to dream beyond that, to really create a wish, because it seems as though, as you were saying, pivotal, um, we are at this beautiful juncture where the power of our wishes, I often talk about the power of our thoughts. And what you're bringing up and what I've been noticing in the last couple of weeks is it's starting to become very heart-centered. It's truly the power of what we love is we can draw that to us, you know, and create from our dreams, from our desires, from our greatest hopes. And I know that word is a little bit of a trigger for people, because they're like, well, if we're just focusing on hope, we're not focusing on what needs to be done in the world and what needs to be overcome and faced and challenged and all of that. And I feel like so many of us have been doing so much of that. And if we lose sight of why we're doing it, exactly, and the hope that inspires us, then it starts to really become almost like a reflection of that which we're fighting. So finding that hope in our hearts, finding our way back to the beautiful inspiration that motivates us in any way, and then creating a wish or a dream from that place. So that's the first answer to your question, long-winded answer. Oh my goodness. Wow. The sun is the best card in the deck. I said, what can we expect in the next 3 months?
Here comes the sun.
Here comes the sun. Oh my gosh, I got to show you these cards. Okay. That was the answer to the question, is the sun. Here's us in the past with our research, our thoughts, our probing into things, our discoveries, our boundaries. Like, no, I will not go along with this, you know? Like, this is just, she's like the fierce guardian of the mind, like, you know, critical thinking and all that great stuff that we've been so working on. This is the card of the present moment, which is the mother and Gaia. It's like, you know, really finding ourselves reconnecting to nature, to nurture, to nurturing each other, to the spirit of the Divine Mother, whatever that means for you. Beautiful. And then the near future is that 3 month, but it's the Three of Pentacles, which is collaboration. It's like working together. It's practical, it's pragmatic. You know, in the old paradigm, it used to be called, like, I'd call it the entrepreneur card. But where we are now and the question you're asking, it has a lot to do with working together, getting into teams and projects. Oh my gosh, another great one. Reward for hard work, practical rewards, new opportunities with money, with business. I've been seeing this in my, you know, soul samplers and stuff for the last couple of weeks, that August, especially the second half of August and into September, we're going to be reaping some kind of harvest financially. So, you know, this July is often a bit of a lull. We go through the sun in Cancer, which is very like emotional and vulnerable. And we just right now are going through our new moon in Cancer as well, which is doubly that, right? But I feel like even in the next week or so, there's going to be an opportunity to see tangible results of what we are working on. We've still got to keep up this, you know, not getting discouraged by chaos.
Hold the line, hold the line.
Hold the line, but not even just hold the line, like fight back.
Move the line.
Move the line. Yeah. Like stay in that, you know, we've got 2 5s here. And 5s are 2 5s.
JFK.
They're about growth, but they're also about the chaos that happens when things are growing, right? It's like it's kind of wild. It's like the Wild West.
Wild, for real.
And it does seem as though we are now, when you're talking about holding the line, again, I've also been seeing this in my predictions, that, you know, this gift, reward, moving in a new direction, it starts off small. It doesn't start off huge. It's like it grows. So we want to keep up that momentum. It's almost, this card is almost to me with this underneath it, like we are on some level kind of business as usual, like nothing to see here, move along, you know, like not drawing too much attention to ourselves. There's a sense of stabilizing, particularly in the realm of the material resources, what I've been talking about. But underneath this, there's a whole movement in a new direction. It's kind of like a revolution of ideas, of vision, of plans, like super exciting. But on the surface, it's kind of like we're going, yeah, everything's nothing to see here, you know, like not drawing a lot of attention to that. So the movement of, you know, ideas and new collaborations, that feels like it's a bit under the surface.
Okay, I am so, okay. I mean, you were talking and I was receiving like downloads when you were talking.
It's, you know, and
I mean,
yeah, like what we're doing right now, this is what builds that inspired
grid,
vision
like a
of
grid,
what's
like a grid.
possible. Yeah, because yeah, like we can't break out of the mind prison alone. Because you know what? I know, you know, I guess most of the people watching this know, it's those times when you're by yourself and you know you're thinking about these things, and if you don't have someone to process some of this with, it can just start to kind of take you over, and it can be very you start to see more and more of the challenges and less of the solutions. Whereas as soon as you get together with others who are like-minded and you're able to express your feelings, you're able to get it all out in the open. You know, I had a great conversation last night with an old friend who thankfully is on our side and very awake. And she hasn't got very many people that she can, you know, discuss this with. And she was feeling really down and out. And by the end of the conversation, she was just laughing and feeling so restored back to her authentic self, her whole self, you know. Again, it's almost like when we're focusing on all this stuff, it can start to almost become like we are matching the vibration of that which we're trying to fight against.
Yeah.
So through connection, through, like you're saying, you know, as you are asking the questions, it's helping me see more clearly the solutions, and vice versa. As we're sharing about this, it's
Ashala. Okay.
yes.
Okay. So I have 3 key points from your incredible reading right now. Okay. I mean, how is this beautiful? It's so connected. So you remember when you said about the island that I asked you, and you said there was a counter force that balanced that, evened it out. And it has, like, it was Mother Gaia. Okay. That's how I understand. It was the nature Mother Gaia. So when you were showing that those cards, this actually came to me. Mother Gaia, it's balancing within these 3 months. So like no human can turn this around because she's on it. The energy of the earth, of Mother Gaia, is on it. It's a supernatural support.
Yes.
It's like you cannot prevent that from happening. It's not like, you know, military forces, this and that. This is one aspect, but on the big scale, we're talking universal frequency. It's Mother Gaia, and it's that force. Then when you had the card with 3, you know what came to me? That this is the time collapse. This is past, present, and future collapsing into one integration, like a completely brand new reality there. And then when you said that we are going to see the benefits of the financial change, but it's like you just see barely fraction, like not like it's stabilized, but a lot is going on underneath. You know what came to me? It's this word financial glacier. It's like a glacier that we see 20% above the water of this financial glacier. But what's really stabilized is this 80 down below.
Yes. Yes, because as we are so aware, you know, the forces, the nefarious forces, a lot of what they work with is illusion.
Yes.
They work with the illusion of their, you know, their degree of influence and control. So it's like they're often, we are given a fraction of the truth or the picture or whatever. And, you know, the fraction they give us, it, you know, the guides are showing me that thing that military strategists used to do where they would put like, you know, just the hats of the soldiers on top of the mountain to make it
Oh,
look like there was a bunch of soldiers there. Yeah, you know, it's like there's millions of them, and meanwhile it's like a bunch of hats. Like, I mean, it's sort of this sense of there's a lot of illusion being constructed and put out there. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of nefarious activity and truly, you know, true activity that has created a lot of damage and
yes,
is now being polarized. Like, this is the thing, we've in the laws of the universe, there's going to be a response. And when you said that about Mother Gaia, I want to make reference to this, and this might be a little bit hard for people to put their heads around, but I feel like if you can put your heart around this, it's helpful. Up here in Canada, in British Columbia right now, we are experiencing unprecedented weather, with wildfires that are literally decimating whole towns in like half an hour, and people have died because they can't get out fast enough. Like, it's absolutely really, you know, concerning and destructive. And when we see Mother Nature or Gaia energy responding and balancing what's happening, it can look like such extreme and almost like we're being targeted or we are victims of this force that seems like unable to distinguish between, you know, the good guys and the bad guys. Like, it just comes through and destroys a whole area, right? But there's something, a larger balancing formula where, you know, we, in a way, it's like if we can have faith.
If you align with that, right?
Yeah, like, I actually believe that if you are really in a resonance, you will just know, I'm going to drive away today for some reason and not be there. I mean, there's that, although we can't totally put all our story in that, because that's like the ego saying, you know, what's most important is that I live. It doesn't matter if the earth rebalances. I just want to make it out alive, you know? It's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I feel if I need to be an offering in order for earth to balance, so be it. If that's how I best serve, is that, you know, I end up being there when something like that happens, then I trust that spirit, that nature knows best how to balance things.
Yes.
And that's a great place to begin from, because I feel, you know, when you were saying Gaia will look after this and, you know, we just stay out of the way, I actually feel that we support Gaia in looking after this. Yes. You know, we can make this planet more beautiful with our efforts. We can actually do things to restore the environment. We can do things to restore, you know, our culture and the beautiful ways that human beings can interact with nature. It doesn't have to be the way it's looked. And in a way, these times are forcing us to look at some of that stuff. So, a bit of a long rant.
No, it's important. And I think to a very large extent, the weather is manipulated, but it's not every weather condition is due to manipulation. A big part of it is, but there is another force that is balancing the earth plane. It's a living being. It's feeling things, experiences things,
Totally.
and it's reacting to it.
It really is. It really is. And, you know, yes, you're absolutely right that the weather's been tampered with. One of my perspectives on this is, why does that need to happen? Like, what is it, is that just about creating disruption for humanity? My intuition says it's actually because there's a lot going on.
To distract.
Universal, like in the cosmos, there's a lot going on with where we are in, the precession of the equinox and the alignment and, universal alignments that are happening, solar flares, so it's like we are going, I've heard this, that Earth itself, Gaia itself, is going through this big crisis. Yeah. And there's even some proponents that say these dark forces on the planet are kind of part of that process. It's like there's a larger plan, there's a larger agenda from source that is creating all this chaos so that Earth can be reborn.
Okay. To purge.
So
to purge out.
Yeah, like a purge out. And if you look at the nefarious forces as like parasites that come, like, are part of that purging process, instead of them being in control and creating all this, they are playing into the larger mixture of what's happening. And so, that helps us too, to not feel just totally
victims,
exactly.
I love you, Ashala.
I'm like, what's that word?
And we are on the same frequency.
Yes.
So now I want to touch on something completely different, because many of viewers don't know that we share one thing with Ashala in common, many things, but one especially. We are both writers, and Ashala is a very prolific writer, everyone. This is not one book we're talking about. This is quite a number of books. I don't remember exactly how many, but I went on Ashala website and I saw, oh my goodness, this is like, how many books, Ashala? 4, 5, more?
Well, okay. I mean, it's a bit of a story, but do you want to hear a little bit?
Yes, please. To all the suffering writers out there, this is your moment.
This is it. Okay. So I would be embarrassed to say how many book projects I have on the go. However, I'm not as embarrassed because I was very fortunate to be given some relief in the form of a documentary about the life of Mark Twain. So through most of this life, I've struggled with my writing, because being a Gemini, I'm all over the place, and I literally have this prolific mind that is always creating new storylines, new ideas, new topics, new focuses, new research projects. And it's incredibly overwhelming. And there was a point about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago where I hadn't really completed any of them. And I was just at this point where I was like, I think I'm just faking it, I think I'm just like, I am a good writer, but I think that I don't think I'm ever going to actually do this. And it's kind of driving me crazy. So maybe I should just forget about the whole thing. And then I watched this documentary about Mark Twain and realized what an incredible artist he was and is, of course, because he's still with us. Mm-hmm. Also, what a tortured soul he was. And it was just, as I was like, I literally was watching it and I had tears pouring down my face, because he was talking, or the story is relating how he was following a storyline. He'd get on a boat to go somewhere to like follow up on a particular storyline of one of the stories he's working on. On the boat, he'd meet somebody that would inspire a new storyline, get off the boat with that person, go start following that storyline. And then he'd be like tortured because his other storyline is left hanging. So then he'd get back on the boat, go on the way to the next one, and then be like, oh no, I might lose something from that one, and go back. Like, it's just, I was like, okay, that's me. And the beautiful thing is when you embrace that, because there's the ego says there's not enough time, I'm never going to get these things done. What happens if I don't finish this storyline? Likely it's born in the collective consciousness. If you don't do it, someone else likely will. Don't worry about it. And little by little, I did begin to experience some completions, and that is in the way of the 2 books that I've now produced about the tarot and working in there. They're more like technical kind of textbooks, but there is a lot of history and a lot of my own spiritual philosophy woven into that. It's once you've done that first book,
Yes,
as you know, Anya,
yes,
once you've
yes,
crossed
yes.
that first threshold, whether it's just, to me, it was an offering. I was like, it doesn't matter what happens with this book. I just need to do it so that I have something
Yeah,
completed.
yeah.
It
For
does,
your soul, for your soul.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it really does help you to relax into the process and see some of them may never get completed. So the magic number right now is 14 projects.
Wow. Wow. That's, I mean, I feel you're gonna complete all of them.
Oh my Lord. Well,
I see
I
it.
I hope I live till I'm
No, no, it will
90
go.
at
It
least.
will go. It will go. It will go. Ashala, I see it. I literally do. It's amazing. No, it's really. I think that there is not. Sometimes people ask like, "How do you write a book?" or "What are the advice for someone to write a book?" or "How you become a writer?" And for you was Mark Twain. For me was Ernest Hemingway.
Yes.
And actually, this is very, and you probably remember from the reading we had, actually, Van Gogh was another big part of my writing, not because of the art and creation through, in spite of depression. Um, what creating book, I think, does, and I'm just sharing now on my insight, but I know when writer talks to the writer, regardless of different way of creating that book, giving birth to that book, there is a sense of
Mhm.
understanding beyond words, because
Yes.
our process might vary, but the struggle, we can relate to parts of the struggle in creating that book.
Mhm.
And I know for me, what creating my book, writing my first book gave me, it was 6 years, by the way, everyone,
Mhm.
that gave me a sense of continuum and structure in my life. When my nervous system was breaking, depression and all of it, that book was one thing that was certain, and I knew no matter what, I have to
Mm.
finish. And I think that if people want to tell their story, like Hemingway said, that every man's life, if told truly, it's a novel.
Wow.
I love Hemingway. He was no BS. He was like, I'm moving to Cuba, I get my boat, keep living life. And he suffered. I mean, he suffered, but
Absolutely.
everyone has a story to tell. And I think
Mhm.
every book has also like the time when it will be born,
Mhm.
like your books. They have their timing, Ashala.
Mhm.
And I think that spirits of writers, like for you, Hemingway helped you, right? For you, Twain helped you. For me,
They helped.
Hemingway helped me. I
Mhm.
think every book will have, I didn't share this with you. The book for children that I publish now, you know who was helping me? I don't know if you're aware of them. They were my favorite teachers, Abraham Hicks.
Oh yes. Yeah, and Esther.
They
Yeah.
help me. I mean, I know why I know, because it's like joy, 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 joy is the key. And I'm like, 3 months, 3 months. Psht, the book came. No, 6 years,
Mhm.
right? I mean, this was like
Mhm.
Hemingway's struggle too, like 6 years of writing my first book. And I think every book has a different spirit. So you have 2 books out. Tell me now. I would like to know what's like Twain was involved, his energy was more present with the first book or the second book?
The second book is just a volume 2, and they're more like technical writing. So to me, I mean, my biggest hurdle was the last, well, was getting feeling like I would complete something, and that was how that documentary and really feeling that alignment with the process of an artist. So, you know, I would say that is going to serve me for the rest of my life. Like that's going to help me with everything I produce, not only my creative works of fiction and nonfiction, but also how I live my life. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
like to me, this is like life is an art form. We are all artists creating this experience, and that it doesn't necessarily go in a straight line. You know, we look at other people and we say, oh, well, they've had success. Look at that. They just did this and this and this, and everything fell into place. And they, you know, they had a great business model and they made things happen. I mean, that does happen rarely where it's that effortless and straightforward. And you know, maybe that's really fulfilling for an individual, or maybe it's not. Who's to know? But most of us, I feel, our journeys are all over the place, zigzagging, backtracking, you know, and to not feel like you're not succeeding or not producing or not creating in this world because you know, you don't have a lot to show for it specifically.
Right.
That it is a beautiful dynamic process, you know. But I want to just say that that last month or that last 2 weeks of my creation of my first, like my publication, my final, the creation was only like a few months because it was writing on a subject that I knew really well. But the final getting it finished, I couldn't believe it. It was literally like I had all the last minute demons on my back just going, you, what does this even matter? You're not going to do this, you know, or, oh, big deal, you're going to do it. No one's going to like it. Like it was just this, I felt like I was listening to this chorus of like
Your
the things
shadow,
that,
like your shadow was.
yeah, and the things that stop us from following through to that, that's the hardest hurdle, is our own inner, like then you get to see, you know, what's actually preventing you from creating and being an artist or living life like an art form. It's all that stuff that's backed up in there. And I remember there was a week for sure where I basically did nothing but write. And I had words with those with those shadow demons. I was like, if this kills me, I am publishing this. That's it. And I just pushed and pushed and pushed through that. And it was like, oh, I mean, you know, my computer had a problem, a virus,
Yeah.
like everything that could go wrong. It was just like, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. And I was like, I'm doing it.
You know,
And that, you know, that's the beginning of that first hurdle of, okay, that's what it takes in a way to really show up for your life path. And we all have to face that in one way or another. Thank goodness for our inspired, you know, mentors, like you were saying.
But you know, Ashala, you know what came to me now when you were saying this about other people's successes? I question pretty much everyone's success. I'm talking writers right now, because so many of them sold their souls. We know to who, okay?
Yeah.
In order to be successful. No, I'm not saying everyone, but a big portion of those bestsellers are actually coming not necessarily, when I look and when I was going through this stuff, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. This one involved, this one involved, this one involved, okay? And there were several individuals that are known and they have not, I mean, as much as I know really, have not been part of that whole evil gang.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, this is actually, what a blessing that I see it like this right now, because I had this illusion that you have to be on New York Times bestseller list and this and that. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's called cult classics. You know, like people will find, if people find your work and love it, it will spread through word of mouth, and you'll have your own, you know, your own following of people that really appreciate exactly what it is that you have to offer. And it's like, let that other system just do its thing and forget about it. You know, I agree. I totally agree. It's certainly not a marker of being a successful artist in any way to be
Yeah.
famous
And
in
how
the.
many of them have those books written for them, Ashala? They don't go through the process like you went or I went. They where they are actually suffering, right? In this process, it's emotional and physical suffering.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. So yeah, and I
Have
just think
two
that
books out, and they are about tarot. So if anyone wants to learn about tarot, right?
yes. Now, the first book is actually out of print right now. I'm out of stock in the hard copy version, and I'm in the process of creating a second edition, which will be an ebook format, which will be really easy for people to access. So it's going to be probably another. Oh, I got to be careful with timelines. I'm aiming for another month to have that complete and up on my website. So then there'll be 2 ebooks. Because my volume 2 is up on the website as an ebook right now. So for people who already have some knowledge of the tarot, volume 2 is awesome because you just jump right in and start, learning how to do more complex layouts and spreads and there's some little anecdotal bits of wisdom in there and tips and a reading formula, which people are finding really helpful. And these books were designed as companions for my level 1 classes workshop series and my level 2 workshop series. And then I have coming up, I believe it is August the 8th or 9th, whatever the Sunday is, I've got a free tarot masterclass that is online. So that I just posted that up on my website. I've run a few of those, and so the next one is going to be on that date. So if you can go onto my website and sign up for that. And then that's kind of like the prerequisite for the level 1 and level 2 series.
So if you're interested, everyone, you can find it on Ashala's website, Eye of the World. I'll attach below. And then if you're interested in the readings, Ashala has professional booking system there. So go forward and just book yourself. You will go through the calendar and you see the time and the time zones. As Ashala said, it's like really very savvy with different countries. You will have this clear, you're not confused. And yeah, okay. So thank you so much for today, Ashala. I really appreciate you found time.
So welcome, Anya. I feel like as we share it, you can just feel the warmth building. You can feel, this beautiful spirit and our creativity opening and yeah, like our ability to imagine a beautiful future
It is.
opening as well. And this is why it feels important for each of us to find our community. And especially I've been predicting in this upcoming week or two to really share from the heart and to expose our vulnerability in that safe container, that we are actually in a good space right now to hold space for each other and be really supportive emotionally.
Yes.
And who knows what's going to be birthed out of these intimate sharings.
Yes. And everyone, by the way, Ashala has every Sunday, she has the soul sampler on her channel. So go subscribe to Ashala. The channel is down below. You have to find it. If you don't, you just search Ashala Yardley and you find her channel. Okay. Thank you so much. And blessings to everyone and lots of love from both of us.